All right, we're here again, the beginning of a new season. We are ready to hit the road. We have all sorts of fun adventures planned, but that means dewinterizing, getting the antifreeze out of the system, checking all of the plumbing, making sure we don't have any leaks, that the electrical works, that all of the other things are ready to go. So let's get to that, and we'll talk about what's upcoming in this season here in a minute. After traveling the US in our Airstream Basecamp for 3 years, we realized that this year could be the year that we hit the halfway mark. So why not go for it? Uh-oh, that one's gonna be harder to get.
The goal for this summer is to hit 25 states. That's getting to be a little bit hard because we are in the Midwest and we've hit a lot of the periphery. So we're really thinking about how we're going to do that while balancing also having weekend trips and things like that. Because again, we're mostly weekend warriors. We sometimes take a Monday or a Friday to extend a little bit. And then occasionally we'll have a longer week, more in like the beginning or the end of the summer. So we're kind of looking at the calendar and like what makes sense, and also what makes sense for temperatures. So thinking about going to the south more in that beginning April, May time, and then going up north in July.
Well, it is now a few hours later. It is now dark and it is raining, but I need to flush all that bleach water out and get fresh water in there. So that's what we're gonna do.
Well, it's been a couple of days. We're now supposed to leave today for our trip, and I'm not done dewinterizing and getting everything set up. So definitely not the way you should be doing this, but it is what it is. We have a trip to go on. So I still have to kind of put new fresh water in and check the tire pressure and do a couple other things just to make sure we are ready to go, that we're going to be safe, that we can get there. There'll be stuff that we do along the way. There are other upgrades, other changes, things that we wanted to do before actually hitting the road this year. But today's the day. We're going to make it happen. Fellow Airstreamers, you're gonna get flamingoed this year. If we see you at a campground or somewhere else, just know that we're gonna be placing some of these on some of the friends that we see around. Little rubber flamingos. what model you have, that's an important thing to do at the beginning of the season or at the beginning of a big trip. Make sure that the AC unit bolts are still secure, that it was A reported issue a couple years ago. I don't think it was an official recall, but something I check every time. Never had an issue, but definitely worth checking.
Start our season more around April because you still might get snow, and this April is going to be really special because there is an eclipse. Chicago's going to experience the eclipse, but not to totality. So that's going to be one of our main kind of time sensitive goals, is to go to Indiana. So that isn't a new state, but it's really cool experience. So then the rest of the plan will be, we have a little bit of a longer break at the beginning of May. We're gonna head south to Tennessee and Arkansas. Now we've gone through Tennessee before and even spent the night, but it doesn't count because you need to have 24 hours total and actually doing something in the state for it to count for myself. So we will do that on the way to Hot Springs National Park. Later we'll go to a place in Wisconsin that we found that isn't too far away for more of that weekend warrior time and to really use those kayaks and hopefully see how Chip does in them. And then we want to hit that northern area, so North Dakota, South Dakota, for again a little bit longer of a PTO time in July. We will close out to I think the newest national park, which is New River Gorge in West Virginia. So that'll also be a new state, so that should be 25, and that would be in August for kind of a longer weekend because it is like a one-day drive there. So that's the plan, but we know weather and we've had things happen with storms, so we're really hoping that it works because it's kind of tight and there's not really those like 3-hour drives anymore to get a new state.
We wanted to take a minute and say that this whole series, Roll into 25, is brought to you by you. We do not have any sponsors for this series, but we are supported by you. And there's two main ways that you can do that. One is by subscribing. That doesn't seem like a lot, that's free to you, but it does help us out. The second is by using the links in the description to make some purchases. If you are looking to get started in RVing and are looking for those essentials, or you want to maybe pick up some of the fun items that we have around the RV, around camping and hiking, there are links in the description that don't cost you anything extra, but allow us to get a little bit of financial support on the back end. So there are links to Amazon as well as other retailers like Rocky Talkie, and these are all items that we recommend. They're items that we still use, and the things that we say, you should purchase these, we're gonna stand by these as long as we continue to use them. So just want to say thank you for your continued support of this series, and that is how you can support us as we bring this type of content to you. Now let's get back to it. So one thing we've been thinking about doing for a while is removing this microwave. You know, it's great to have when you need it, but honestly, in the 3 years that we've had this Airstream, we've used it twice, and it's just taken up a lot of space. And as you can see up here, we have a lot of stuff on the counter that could use a place to go. So we're going to try and take this microwave out and use this as more storage than it is right now. So fun little project while we're at a campsite. There are just 2 bolts underneath that look to be holding this in. There you go, got one out. There we go, second one out.
Was it unplugged or no?
Not unplugged yet, because I can't get my hand back there, but.
You gonna have room down?
Why is this not coming out? It is a tight fit in there.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Well, there's a big hole.
So we're gonna need. Well, we could put.
And another side note is it frees up a plug back there. That if when we are plugged into shore power and we have that full power, frees up another one. There's a big hole because that was kind of the vent for the microwave itself. So I'll have to figure something out there to cover that up.
Just take right now the shelf underneath that we have the food in, and flatten it, and then put it up there.
Okay. Just like that for now.
For now.
Gives us some extra space. And there you go. There's some extra storage for us. When I have more tools and maybe when we're back home, I have a net that I'm gonna put, a little cargo net I'm gonna put in front of that. But I don't have that with me. So this is a temporary solution. This won't be able to work while we're driving, so we'll have to adjust for driving home, but then it'll be just more storage long term. All right, you might remember, so I don't really know how I'm gonna edit this together. This might have been 2 seconds ago for you. But we are back home, and one of the projects that we started was taking the microwave out, and we said that we wanted to put some sort of netting or something to kind of make sure that this spot stays closed, or we can put things in it to not worry about it. Our first try is going to be with command strips and some hooks that we can put on all 4 corners and then put the netting on. So that's what I'm going to try. Let's see if it works. There you go. That's on there. Now, I'm not gonna put anything that's like breakable because that could definitely still fall. Things could come out of that, but that's definitely better. And even this itself is a pocket, so we could put some things in there if we wanted. Another small improvement project that we want to make is to the vibe of the base camp of Takarman. And the way that we plan on doing that is with fairy lights, just a little bit of ambiance. And this set in particular we got is USB powered and then has a little button on here, has 8 different modes. Our plan, and we're gonna see if this works, is to plug it into this USB here on kind of next to the bathroom and behind the cushion, and then run it up the side and use the overhead compartments to wrap it around and go all the way across. So let's get started. So already lesson learned. Going to use the other one before I unwind the entire thing. Instead of trying to feed the entire thing up, I'm gonna take this end and feed it down so that I can keep it on the spool and use that to wind it kind of around where I want it to go.
And I'm rewinding the whole thing.
Let me just take a step back. What do you mean more dang? You don't want to hit it, so you want it. What are we doing? What you doing, bud? Investigating? Are you my inspector? I didn't call for inspection yet. Cute. All right.
Sorry.
Adding some vibes.
Yeah.
I don't know if they might be blinking or being weird on camera because they're LEDs, but got them all the way up and around this way and over here. And that was just one of the 2 strings. It had 2 of them in there for a total of like 33 feet. This was a 16.5 foot string that was able to make it all the way around. So we'll put a link in the description for you if you want to pick one up yourself, but know that that's kind of the length that you need. If there is a 1 pack, that'll do it. But they're pretty cheap, so 2 packs, great to have a backup.
We're really set on this goal for 25 states for a lot of reasons. Like being a weekend warrior, it's a little bit harder to sit there and accumulate states. And actually, you know, the country is huge. And so I really like lists. I like goals. I really love filling out that map. And so when I realized that we were close to halfway, is kind of a cool goal to pursue, especially as the states get harder and harder to get.
It was definitely a quick, easy upgrade that we've made. Instead of the long cable that was here before, it kind of got in the way of a lot of things. You had to wrap it around to make sure that it was there. Swapping that out is a little bit cleaner. It's bright red, so we're not going to miss it. And should be just as effective.
So that's going to be it for getting everything ready. So be sure to hit subscribe to find out where in the world Carmen goes next, and if she makes it to 25. So we are finally on the road.
Today's the day. So I think here in southern Indiana, we should be okay.
It's now completely dark, and you just see this beautiful ring around it.